I think I speak for all millennials when I say, like, we were the beta test. We were the trial run for everything. The internet before we knew what it was. Smartphones in our hands 24/7. Social media. Mass amounts of student loan debt. Like, we were the guinea pigs for modern day adulthood. Like, we were told, just follow your dreams, and then the economy collapsed. We were told, like, you just need to unplug, but half our jobs depend on being online 24/7. We were told, like, just buy a house, build some equity. Okay, sure, just waive all your inspections, compete with 50 other people, offers due tomorrow, $100,000 over asking. Like, it's been a constant trial and error. Like, nowadays they have close friends lists, and we had anxiety inducing public top eights on MySpace. Like, now they have mental health social media posts, and we had Panic at the Disco lyrics in our aim away messages. So yeah, we're anxious, but we're also adaptable. We figured all this out without a manual. We're the constant software update. Through all the system crashes, we're still here. We're still doing it. We walked so everybody else could scroll.
Night City eats its young. Don't kid yourself. That ain't just chrome and neon bedtime stories. Wake the hell up, Chum. It's deja vu sprayed in neon paint. My millennial generation was told, study hard, go to college, grind the 9 to 5, and you'll unlock the good life, a house, a family, and a prosperous future with benefits. What we got instead was debt that would flatline our savings, recessions on a brain-dance loop, and a mega-corporate economy treating us like disposable cyberware, cheap to install, cheaper to replace. My generation became the fragging prototypes, born analog, raised digital, and tossed straight into a stacked deck. The first taste of adulthood will vary from cyber psychos in trench coats, Y2K fear-mongering, watching corporate towers fall on 9/11, and endless wars in the Middle East with Halliburton cosplaying as Militech. Then 2008 nuked the job market right as we walked in the door. Wages froze, costs climbed, and the only gigs left were the kind you take from fixers. The Yetis lost spending power in every fiscal loop. We got chewed up, spat out, and next in line. Then the elder boomer gonks had the nerve to scream, "Try harder!" So here's the truth, Shrooms. We're not the lazy gen choking on Nova avocado toast. We're the preem beta testers of late-stage capitalism. A generation lost in our own brain-dance trauma, raised by boomer handlers, dressed as parents, and the no child left behind shard protocols. Are we the greatest generation 2.0? Sure. If greatness means tanking every corpo sucker punch the century lined up. So slide in, grab your iron, and jack in deep, because this ride ain't fiction. Millennials aren't waiting for the cyberpunk future because we're bleeding in it. Right fraggin' now. The broken promise of progress. They told us the future was secure. Input the right commands. College, hard work, loyalty, and the algorithm would return prosperity. However, the system was already corrupted long before we entered. The promises were scrapped before we ever jacked in for benefits. Then 2008, the code collapsed. The job market froze. Opportunities derezzed. And an entire generation spawned into an empty queue. Employment meant unstable shifts, invisible hours, and waiting for work that never materialized. Landing a part-time gig felt like running fetch quests for a fixer who never called back. Some months you weren't even on the schedule. Despite being employed, The first adult protocol wasn't independence. It was infection by a debt virus. The numbers glitch out clearly. Wages flatlined. Costs kept climbing. The middle class dream, home, stability, retirement, turned to ghost data, archived in stories boomers still believe in. And those student loan investments. Nothing but iron shackles, welded by banks, designed to drain every eddy we'd ever hustle. Like V, chasing that corporate suit and tie fairy tale, millennials got flatlined by the truth. The system was never coded for us to win. The real download was never progress. It was programming. Gift wrapped in a diploma, stamped success, and sold as destiny. The system's intent was obedience, compliance masked as opportunity, and servitude repackaged as success. When the illusion dissolves, then there's no reinstalling the old dream.
Millennials were really out here preparing for a future that doesn't exist anymore. We grew up hearing either follow your passion or just go to a good school to get a good job and you'll be set. And even if we had the privilege to be able to do either of those things, follow a passion or use a good school to get a good job, we are still out here like 10-ish years later with the very bleak reality that neither a traditionally good 9-to-5 job or following a passion is enough to be set. Our corporate jobs are not secure. Even the best performers are not safe from downsizing, layoffs. So just being good at your job and keeping your head down does not guarantee security anymore. If you're trying to land a new job, the market is so competitive and so slow that you feel like you can't be picky at all, let alone hold out for something that you're passionate about. And entrepreneurship could be an option for some of us, but entrepreneurship, freelancing, fractional work, all of that comes with its own version of hustle and grinding that can be all consuming and detrimental to some of our mental health if we're not careful. Like, that's not a surefire avenue to go either. I know my content is usually very solutions focused, but if you are tired or very confused or defeated that you did everything right to be successful in the real world and still do not feel that way, I hope you know or remember that it's not because of something that you did wrong. It's not a personal shortcoming. It's because we were following a manual to build an object that is now obsolete.
The gig economy and disposable labor. Welcome to the grind room. The gigs don't care who you are, only that you show up, deliver, and disappear. Uber, DoorDash, freelance contracts written in vanishing ink. Corpo branded independence, sold for scraps of cred. They call it flexibility, we call it survival.exe. This isn't empowerment, it's exploitation wearing a freedom mask. Economist Guy Standing called us the precariat, the new working class built on insecurity. No safety nets, no guarantees, no promises of tomorrow, just a constant hustle coded into our daily loop. We're not laborers, we're real-time processes. Boot up, grind, shut down, and repeat. The only stable in the precariat life is instability itself. We don't climb ladders anymore, we cling to edges. Every shift is accepted, every delivery completed, every rating earned is just like another line of code keeping the lights on for one more cycle. The corporate systems profit from our exhaustion, gamifying desperation, turning survival into a leaderboard where burnout gets you deleted. Work doesn't end at 5 p.m. It follows us like malware, disguised as opportunity. Pings, alerts, side quests that promise freedom but drain your soul like a leech script. Frugality isn't a lifestyle, It's armor, roommates, ramen, thrifted threads, and side hustles just to stay online. FIRE, financial independence, retire early, was never a path to freedom. It was proof that even escape had to be budgeted. The truth is that precariat isn't just a class, it's a condition. A generation wired to chase eddies will never keep, chasing stability that no longer exists. Survival mode isn't glamorous, Choom. It's a feature of the system, a deliberate design. Because in this economy, you don't own your labor, your time, or even your rest. The house doesn't just win, the house wrote the code.
People born between 1983 and 1993 are the most unique generation, and here's why. They are born in between two generations, the one before the internet and technology took over, and the generation after. The generation before us was old school and believed in working hard, and the generation after us believes in working smart. We saw it all. Radio, TV, Mario, WAP Trick, Nokia, Nintendo 64, Samsung, iPhone, PS4, tapes, CDs, Mixit, MiG-32, Netflix, Snapchat, emojis, and virtual reality. The generation before us can be scammed by simple emails asking for money and offering love. The generation after us knows it's better to have 4 emails, one for social media, one for financial transactions, one for serious stuff, and one for things you don't trust. We are the generation that knows tradition and questions it, picking from it what makes sense to us. The generation before us knew no questions. The generation after us knows no tradition. We are the gap between the industrial age and the internet age. We understand both sides from experience. We should be running the world. The old guys don't understand what's going on anymore, and the new guys don't understand where what's going on came from.
The identity crisis of a generation. We grew up straddling two worlds, analog ghosts and digital illusions, VHS tapes, dial-up screeches, flip phones, childhood etched in static, faded into adulthood glued to screens, feeds, and curated facades. Every scroll reshaped who we thought we were. Every like measured our value. Unlike the old generations, we don't get the markers. No guaranteed home, no steady career, no predictable life path. Our identities are fragmented, a patchwork of apps, usernames, and shadows in the cloud. Stability, a myth. Who we are shifts with every software update, algorithm tweak, or viral trend. Night City's cyber psychosis chews up anyone who jacks in too deep. Our augmentation wasn't Chrome. It came coded. Social pressure, tech saturation, unending pings, anxiety, burnout, isolation, all pre-installed in the 21st century Corpo playground, Choom. The real hack was learning to survive while staying somewhat human, in a system designed to reshape, manipulate, and erase. You claw out fragments of yourself through patience, awareness, and sheer defiance. If you can hold on, Choom, then maybe you keep more than just your username. Corporal control versus personal freedom. Think you're free? Think again, Choom. The corporates run the grid. Google, Amazon, Meta. These aren't just companies. They're governments with better PR. Every click, every swipe, every microtransaction feeds the machine. And us, we're the battery pack, running endless loops just to keep the lights on. Banks, credit scores, debt. Welcome to your digital leash. The system isn't broken. It was coded this way. Political power? Lobbyists outbid us before we even register to vote. Our lives are tracked, monetized, optimized for exploitation, a constant background process we barely notice. Survival isn't rebellion, it's awareness. It's learning the rules while the odds are stacked against you. Corporal control isn't subtle. It's in the rent you pay, the apps you swipe through, the notifications pinging like cybernetic alarms. And the cruelest hack, Most of us don't even know we're trapped. Like V, navigating the corporate nightmare, the system doesn't care if you break. It only cares if you play along. Historical trauma and crises. From the moment we jacked into adulthood, the world ran us through a stress test. Towers fell on 9/11, taking with them a sense of security we never even knew we had. Wars stretched across decades, ghosting the lives of strangers while implanting anxiety into our collective code. Then 2008 hit, the financial grid crashed beneath our feet. Just as we tried to boot up, jobs vanished, savings evaporated. The middle class dream? Ghost files in a corrupted system. Unrecoverable. And just when you thought the loop couldn't get any harsher, COVID-19 appeared like a final boss nobody signed up to fight. Lockdowns, layoffs, mental health patches, failing in real time. We absorbed it all while the world spun on autopilot. Millions fell behind student loans. Credit scores corrupted. Uncertainty became a permanent upgrade. Every new crisis was another patch we didn't authorize. Every blow, a system update we didn't request. Yet through it all, we survived. Not because it was easy, but because we had no choice. Surviving for a generation designed to be disposable became its own quiet rebellion.
People want to know why millennials are so tired, anxious, burned out, distrusting, like why we're just done sometimes. Cool, let's take a quick trip down memory lane. We grew up being told study hard, follow the rules, and life will work out. Then came Columbine and a lifetime of active shooter drills. 9/11, the war on terror, the 2008 crash right when most of us were starting our careers. Gas prices, Sandy Hook, Parkland, Uvalde, student loan debt we're still drowning in, multiple stock market crashes, a global pandemic, George Floyd, political chaos, climate change getting louder, AI potentially replacing our jobs, and now the looming threat of World War III, all before turning 50. We entered adulthood in chaos. We've been told to hustle nonstop, work multiple jobs, somehow save money while the cost of everything skyrockets. Oh, and split furniture into EMIs because even couches are unaffordable. We're online 24/7 trying to keep up, but we still feel like we're falling behind. We're exhausted, anxious, burned out. And even though we're the first generation to recognize mental health issues, most are dealing with it in silence because help is pretty much non-existent, or it's just really expensive. And yet we're still expected to stay hopeful, keep grinding, smile more, stop buying the coffee and the avocado. Right. Totally fine. Everything's fine.
Breaking generational curses. We weren't just surviving the system, we were rewriting our code. Cycles of abuse, neglect, and emotional suppression handed down by past generations. We patched them, logged them, debugged, and refused to inherit broken protocols. Therapy, mindfulness, calling out toxic patterns. These became our hacks. Empathy wasn't weakness, it was an exploit. Emotional intelligence became our edge. Where previous generations fought wars in streets or boardrooms, we fought them in our minds, in our families, in our networks. We refused to pass the pain along. Instead, we leveled up our emotional firmware. Resilience became routine. Healing became mission critical. Survival wasn't enough. We wanted to leave the world slightly less corrupted than we found it. Every act of understanding, every choice to outcode our predecessors became proof. Millennials can still lead the fight, not with blades or iron sights, but with hearts, brains, and code patched with empathy.
Hey, here's a list of weird stuff they did to us when we were kids that might explain why we are the way we are. Let's go. Forced group showers after square dancing in gym class or having to take the presidential fitness test. You know what will be fun? Let's climb a rope that's hooked onto a ceiling tile 20 feet in the air while all your friends look at you. I don't even think it was until 97 that they started putting out the thinnest of the blue mats, and they were like, maybe, just maybe, we need something to cushion that blow if they fall. Quicksand and the Bermuda Triangle have been a huge letdown as an adult. Some of the stuff that the grown-ups chose to have us do as children, as a grown-up now, just doesn't even make any sense. Who remembers having to go sit out in the hallway with books over your head because we're having tornado drills? I don't know if I was the only one, or maybe we were just that poor, but for some reason there wasn't enough fluoride in the water, so we all had to swish. I don't know if it was just me, but they brought these little fluoride cups to us right after recess, and we had to swish this stuff around in our mouth for like a minute and then spit it back in the cup, and you hoped you didn't get the green one. It happened to acid rain. It was going to ruin our lives, right? Like, we were cutting down the rainforest, and it was going to rain acid in the cities. Y'all made a whole movie about it. The grown-ups decided to cast Dr. Frankenfurter out there singing about liquid ooze next to Robin Williams. By the way, Disney, we need a live-action Fern Gully. Nobody asked for this Mufasa movie. Killer bees. Is that still a thing? Because it was definitely a thing when we were kids. They wanted us to understand how freaky nature was by taking out Macaulay Culkin and My Girl. He needs his glasses. He can't see without his glasses. We had to line up in the library and get vaccinated and fingerprinted when I was a kid, and I still can't remember what it was for. Not to mention, America's Most Wanted was on every night. We had John Walsh coming on, reminding us every night that we could get kidnapped, and it was a real thing. Stranger danger, razor blades, and Halloween candy. But yet, with all of the scary things that they told us that were outside, they always made us go outside. I'm not saying millennials had it the hardest, but if you're scratching your head while we're all messed up, this is a good starting point.
Misnamed, underestimated, erased from the logs, no label sticks. We survived. Beta testers have collapsed, carrying scars the system can't patch. Every war, every crash, every pandemic, every corporate trick, we endured. We adapted. We patched our hearts when our wallets couldn't be fixed. If Cyberpunk is a warning, millennials are the proof. We lived the collapse while the world watched, expected us to fail, and still we carried on. Early retirement, maybe a dream, but the real triumph isn't the payout, it's in surviving the bosses nobody else could see. So here's the truth, Shrooms. Night City isn't fiction. It's already here, running our sweat, our tears, our empathy. When the system finally reboots, pave the millennials first. We've already cleared more levels than any generation before us, and we did it without jacking out of our humanity.
Millennials are called millennials because we are predicted to change the world. Did you know that? Okay, let me tell you. When I was a kid, they called us Gen Y, right? Because we're right between Gen X and Gen Z, so that makes sense. So why did we start getting called millennials? Because there was these two guys who wrote a book, right, called The Fourth Turning. They're historians, but I believe with my full heart that they were astrologers, but they knew they couldn't be taken seriously in the 90s talking about astrology, so they just went for the historical aspect. And they showed all the patterns in history that line up with generational planet shifts, okay? And then they made predictions on the future based on the past. And they showed that the millennials, the boomers fucked up the world, and the millennials were going to be the ones to change the world. But he thought that it was going to be a more profound shift. And so he coined us the millennials. And you can watch all these interviews with him on YouTube from the 90s talking about how we are going to be the ones to change the world. Now, I'm actually Pluto in Libra, but Uranus was at 0 degrees Sagittarius when I was born. So because Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, all three together make the generational planets, that's where the shift was marked. And then, so you know how elder millennials and regular millennials are, there's kind of a difference. That's Pluto going from Libra to Scorpio.
Your handsome King Nerdy Bear is a millennial who was born in the static between worlds, beyond analog grit and the digital glare. I studied film at the university before algorithms learned to direct reality. Then came 2008 where everything crashed. The reset of everything, at least it felt like it at the time, and everything just got desynced. The world flatlined back then, and it seems to be happening again. And everything we believed got rewritten. But after making this video and coming to this point of the outro, I see it clearly that maybe this collapse wasn't a failure. Think of it as like the blooming of the rose. Maybe we're in for an upload of a new era, an era that we were supposed to have long ago. Start of a new code, one we're still debugging every single day. Who knows? I thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. Ring on that bell. Ring it like you care.